So, welcome to Tuesday Chats with AI, and I'm Ayse and with my colleague Dave, we are going to have some chats about artificial intelligence with a specific focus on ChatGPT and other AI tools every Tuesday. So, Dave, would you like to have some intro as well?
Yes, I'm Dave. We know each other anyways, but you know what I write about, Web3, blockchain, all that sort of stuff. But like Ayse said, passing on knowledge from using these tools is really what we're about, and helping others kind of get up to that level, and then maybe even further. So that's what we want to do. We want to take the fear out of the this quite intriguing technology. I think that's fair to say.
And so today we will just have the talk about the basics through a presentation, and we welcome to questions at the end. But this is just about the basics because we need to know what is artificial intelligence and what is prompting and how we use in business, just to give a general idea. But then the other sessions will be more practical, but this session I think will be a little bit more theory, but this is just for this session. Just don't think that every session we will give so much info. So okay, now I will share my screen because it's all about practice. Screen share, and yes, yeah. So we will talk about exploring artificial intelligence, and it is real world applications, discover AI's role in transforming industries, understanding the capabilities of narrow AI, identify common AI use cases in businesses, discover how to interact with AI. All AI apps have the same communication channels, and we will go through that, and then Q&A, but we will touch also prompting. So what is artificial intelligence? Just we first need to know what it is, because it is a computer systems to stimulate human mental process, thinking process, such as interpreting and generating language. So it is actually, we are using this artificial intelligence over the years, but it has become popular after COVID. We have been using as chatbots, smart assistants, e-payments, search algorithms, media streaming, smart cars, navigation apps, facial recognitions, text editors, social media feeds. They have been running over the years, and they have the same principles or working process. Also, artificial intelligence, as we said, are computer systems, but they can perform certain tasks, but they need human intelligence. So what are the tasks? Problem solving, learning from experience, understanding natural language, recognizing patterns. And there are three main types: narrow AI, general AI, and super intelligence AI. And at this point, I will give floor to Dave, because this is not my expertise.
Narrow AI, what is it? There's typical examples. You've got virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google. So these are standard bits and pieces that we've used kind of without thinking. Chatbots are another example of this. So image recognition, facial recognition software, and the facial recognition software can be kind of loosely linked to when you go through passport control, you know, where they sort of scan your eyes and such like. Now, I know that's done on biometric as well, but there's an element of AI that works with that. We mentioned self-driving cars. You know, the likes of Tesla are really on top of things like this. So the the examples that I've given you are typical that we've used without thinking. You know, I won't say the word because I've actually got one in the other room and I don't want to set it off. But when we say girl's name, can you do such and such? It can kind of be like our diary. It can tell us jokes. It can wake us up in the morning. It can play music. It can help plan for our working day as such. And I know there's a couple of people I'm linked with on LinkedIn that actually run a business promoting said girl, not Siri, but the other one, if you know what I mean. And they're doing very well out of that. So there's a big market for things like this as people are kind of linking in more with narrow types of artificial intelligence. So that's gives you a very broad example of what this type of AI can do. So when you key something in, it generally will do what you've asked it to do. And the trick, of course, is to elaborate on it and to get it to get to exactly where you want. Could I have the next slide, please, Ayse? So we've covered virtual assistants. I've mentioned one loosely, predictive analytics, natural language processing, which is NLP. And we were having a chat offline about my business partner, Susan. She's very into the possibilities with NLP because that's something that she coaches. Image, video analysis, recommendation of systems. There's probably even in the finance sector, because I know that they're big on artificial intelligence at the moment, tools that they're using where they can use all this capabilities to really get things done quicker, smoother, and without human error, if that makes any sense. So there are various roles in transforming industries, and we've highlighted 5 or 6 with what we've got in front of us. And I'm trying to think of industries where it wouldn't work, and I'm struggling because every time I come up with one, there's a use case where it can be implemented. So it's very broad. And AI is not new. It's been with us for decades, but we just had this explosion from last year with, of course, ChatGPT and all these other tools that have come out. I mean, Midjourney, that's a text-to-image tool. That was a year old recently. So it can do marvelous things. And I've probably got some examples somewhere of the art that it can do. But it can do marvelous things, but it didn't start like that. This is all about evolution. And I think how we manage that and how we teach and how we hand this over to other people, etc., is key to how this will work and, of course, help everybody. Could I have the next slide, please? So discover how to interact with AI. We loosely touched on this. So think of the old-fashioned way of doing things with just literally a blank bit of paper. I would recommend anyone to go, right, I have ideas here and I need to put it on there and do exactly that. So if you want to write a book, we were talking about this earlier, if you've got a subject matter in line, tell the tool, I want to write a book and it needs to be either fictional or fact, whatever it is, the subject matter, how many chapters you want, the character's name. So, or if you don't even know that, you can go right back to grassroots and get it to plan for you. So it will do that, because if you do it the conventional way, like I would, going onto Brave or Google and just typing out, I would get bamboozled with lots and lots of different websites. But this way, it's all condensed into one. And I can go, okay, that makes sense to me. I can pull that apart, copy that word and put it on a Word document, so I can go through each one and just re-enter it into the chat function. And that can work as well. And there's ways to spell check it, of course, with tools like Grammarly and other bits and pieces. So that's some of the objectives that I would be looking for when I'm planning writing a piece of content like that. Data collection and pre-processing. We've been familiar with this with conventional Web 2, as it was then, with what we're currently using now, with when we enter stuff, it's retained somewhere. It's very similar with these language learning models. The more you use it, the more it understands about your writing style, the type of things that you ask. Because like everything else, we're logging into it, right? So it knows who you are as such. And it, after time, when you've used it a lot, you'll get the answers quicker because it actually starting to recognize what it is that you're after, even if it's in a completely different subject. So to make that even better, you've got the thumbs up and thumbs down. They're everywhere now. We've seen them on Google and goodness knows what else, YouTube over the years. You can use those to your advantage as well. So if it produces something that's very good, click a thumb up, because the next time you go in, you might have something that you want a similar result, but in a different subject matter. It might, what I call, have a bit of a moment. So it might go a little bit in a world of its own and produce something that's really bizarre, or worse still, inaccurate. And that's when you could do the thumbs down. So you're telling the development team which is good and which isn't, so they're getting a no. I think in time that's going to kind of write itself, because they're getting more and more advanced knowledge on what we're looking for and what we like to write, create, etc. The right AI solution, well, just ChatGPT, for argument's sake. There's probably about 5 that I would use. I can name them all. They're all free to use, and they're all straightforward enough. Some are better than others, and like I say with most people, try one, try another, and try another. Whichever one you like best, you'll probably fall into that and use that as a bit of a routine. So the train and test of the AI model I've kind of jumped into. Monitor and fine tune, we touched on that earlier when Sarah and I were talking, where ask it a question. If you don't like the output, go back and question it again until it gets to that defined point where you go, yeah, I'm happy to present that as my work. I'm happy to use some of it, because a lot of people don't use all the information that's created. They'll take bits out and put it on however they edit it, in my case, a Word doc, and might sort of put one paragraph on top of the other. It might come the wrong way around, I don't know. But that's one of the tools I would use to monitor and fine tune. And there are checkers as well that you could get. Again, I can give you some information on that at a later date. That if you're that concerned about it looking like it's written by a robot, you can run it through and get it to talk more human. But if you think about that in the first part of the process, you won't really need to do that, because it's getting that way where you can write it in the style of certain people that it would recognize. It could be in the style of someone like Winston Churchill, or dare I say someone like Elon Musk, and it will create something in their patterns, because many other people have played around and asked that question. So that's one of the things that I look at. And of course, the final point, user experience, you will get to work out which one that you like using best. I mean, I do all my posts on my phone. I rarely sit down at my desk and type. I actually talk into it. That's what I love about a phone. And some of these chatbots now, Bing's had an upgrade where you could talk into Bing chat and get it to produce content, and then you can re-ask that question. ChatGPT's got apps for both Android and iPhones now. That was a new update from last week. So same thing, you can click the talk function and talk into it. It works with various different languages. I've tested it in French, Swedish, Danish, and what was the other one? Italian. I've got a friend who's a multilingualist, and I ran it through, and she told me how good it was. And she does a very, very technical job. So I asked it to build a profile of a trademark expert. And I went, what I want you to do is this, because I knew roughly what she does. I did it in English. I sent it over to her, and she went, "Wow, where'd you get that?" I said, "Oh, this thing, ChatGPT." And she said, "Try it in Danish. Will it translate?" And I did, and it did. I didn't know if it was any good or not, but I passed it over to her, and she said, "This is more or less word for word perfect." So it's a good translator. It's not good with numbers, but it's all about language. It's about words and so forth. And now they're starting to get very clever. Where certainly with Bing, the new Bing chat that you get, you can drag images in and it will describe what's on the image. So the user experience obviously will be defined by how you use it. Some people will be quite content with GPT 3.5. They might prefer 4. And as they go up the line, they might. I mean, I use Perplexity. Bing's quite a go-to for me now with the upgrades. But yeah, it's just easy for me to use. If I can just go on my phone, ideally through an app, and just use it, it's great. Is there next slide, Ayse, please? Prompting. Again, I think we've discussed this earlier, but it's fundamental concepts in the realm of AI and natural language processing. A specific input or instruction given to the model to generate a desired output. As I said earlier, the better the input, the better the output. So if you ask the tool to write a poem, yeah, we'll write a poem, but what about? You know, it's like when you go and meet someone, you don't go hello, and then you go away. You say my name is and introduce yourself and all that sort of stuff. So going beyond that, if you keep prompting it, because there's not many limits in terms of how many times you can ask it, you can keep going and going and going. And of course, it will store a history as well, so you can go back into your history chat, especially with things like ChatGPT and Bing now, and go back and revisit something if you found a better version of what that prompt is, and really get some juicy content out of it that way. It's normally in the form of a question or a sentence or a sequence of statements, or it could be literally drag that photo in, type in, describe what you see, and it will do exactly what it's what you've asked it to do. That's it, I think. Have we got any other slides after this, Ayse? Prompting we've covered. What does that say?
You're on mute, Ayse.
Yeah. So what you may think that, sorry, what is the relation between phishing and prompting? If you go on a phishing, artificial intelligence or ChatGPT is like a fish rod. So you specifically need to know what kind of fish you want to catch, what kind of fish food to catch the fish you need. So you need, as Dave explained, you need to be very, very specific. Otherwise, you can't catch the fish. Just is like a metaphor. I'm using here.
Now I see that, it makes sense. I think, what's this one?
What is that? Just to remember. I like images, that is why. So now, if it is okay, I can share my screen and prompting, and then Dave, you can share your screen and show some prompting examples, but it is very simple one. We are not going very deep in this one. Just let me share my screen again. Sorry. You will see. Okay. So don't get confused because I'm using the paid version, so it is a little bit different. So just please focus on the screen. And it is like a communication. You need to think ChatGPT or any artificial intelligence as a human being, and you need to communicate it. That is what I have learned and how I experienced as well. So this is my way, but this is a little bit different, if you can see. So it's a little bit trained one. So because I'm talking with it over the months like this. And we need to be very specific about these words because describe, generate, write are fine. But if you say design, create, these are very general verbs and it will be confused. So there are specific words to be used like describe, write. Otherwise, for example, design is a very general verb and it may understand in a different way than yours. Prompt is, and if we ask is what it is, so it is giving whatever you want. And if you ask, for example, what are the characteristics of prompts, so this is, it can take whatever I learned experience. Maybe Dave has a different idea, but you can give maximum 2 orders in one prompt or in one prompt here. Otherwise, it is again confused. That is why I'm going step by step. So as we said, it needs a specific format in the plain text, clarity, and from short to concise sentences, context, instructions, examples, language style, domain knowledge, user engagement, prompt engineering. So these are all, it will give you what are the characteristics of. But as you can see, the length of the prompt often correlates with the complexity and depth of the expected knowledge. So it's a little bit different. But for example, if we say, write a LinkedIn post, actually short one, otherwise it didn't write a short LinkedIn post about emotional intelligence. Actually, this is not a good prompt, and I will tell you. So it will be very general, and it will not make any, you will see what it gives, but it doesn't, it is not used. So it is very general. And this, but if you say, write a short LinkedIn post, sorry, post about emotional intelligence, up to here it is same. Now it is difference. Difference comes at this point. In the voice, as Dave explained, in the voice of an academician, this is language pattern. You are giving a model in the voice of an academician, and who is the target audience for, and it is for business executives. You can change, but you need to target. So you need the general post. What is the post about? What kind of voice or model you want in the voice of an academician, and who is this for? And it is for business executives. So you need to be very specific. It's like having a sentence. You need a subject, you need a verb, you need a time. So it's very specific. So you see, as an academician specializing in organizational psychology in today's fast pace, so the context totally changes. I don't know if it is clear or any questions.
No, it's pretty clear.
Okay, so I will stop sharing, and Dave, maybe you want to continue from here.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is, just bear with me, I'm having trouble loading up a document.
Okay. In the meantime, Sarah, do you have any questions, any ideas?
No, thank you. Ayse, I'm very impressed with the fact of writing it in the style of, and even adding your audience. I think that's very, very smart to do. I'm definitely gonna look into that. I wasn't totally clear, and I think ChatGPT has different versions in different countries, right? Do I understand that correct? Because I've never seen the prompt functionality. I don't know how you, I mean, I have on my ChatGPT only a search bar. That's it, nothing more.
Okay.
Okay.
You can get various. We were talking about API earlier. You can get various. What do they call it? Oh, what do they call it? They're add-ons. You go into Google Store and you go, I don't know, I want to find something that will analyze video, because you can get that. TLD TV is one, and it will tell you. You load up the link for the YouTube video in question and hit go, and it will give you a transcript of what that video is about. So there's things like that. You can have that as a plugin. That was the word I was looking for. And that might make your appearance different. It will also probably depend on which browser that you're using too. I use Bing, Brave. I use Opera. I use Chrome very, very little. I try not to use Google. I don't like it. So I've got all these other alternatives. Safari, because I'm an iOS user. And it might be something like that that makes it look a little bit visually different. So you can add plugins to it, and there are thousands of them.
Oh,
thousands.
Really? Okay,
let me show you. Right, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so if I go into that lovely girl there, I go into, that's perplexity, and I'll show you what this thing does. Very similar to ChatGPT. So I'll go into ChatGPT, right? I haven't used this for a while. See what I mean? Now I'm going to show you the version that's the cheap one, the one that's free. Once I get in here, I did have this all signed in, so apologies. So you can see how different mine is.
Yeah, exactly. I have nothing of all of that.
Right. You've probably got something similar to this, and you'll go.
Just like you have a search bar in Internet Explorer. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Even when I went to the paid version, it was same.
It might be a case of you might need to log out and log back in again, or even shut everything down and turn it off. Sometimes that will give it a little bit of a kickstart, and sometimes they do have a little bit of a moment. So I mean, you can see here, look, write an SEO friendly product description.
Amazing.
These are all pre-prompts that you can just click in.
Dave, this is standard there in your version. You didn't add any plugins together.
I haven't paid for any of this, no.
I've never seen it. Amazing. I think maybe it's specifically for India or something that's not accessible this way.
You know, that's a GPT plus one. Okay. You know, and you can see there meta title and description. So I've clicked on that. We want it in English. On the paid version, you've got lots of different functions here. So if we go emotional, writing style, poetic, keyword, I don't know. See, this is where you plan, you see. So you've got an idea. Let's see if it'll do anything with LinkedIn. We're all familiar with that.
Dave, this is in which browser?
This will be in any browser. I just happen to use this one's Brave, I think.
Okay.
So you can see all the stuff that it will kick out. And as Ayse has shown you, you can go back in and prompt these various bits and pieces. So it's giving you some ideas. So you might want to do some content creation for LinkedIn. And I know we're leaning a lot about creating content. It's just easier to explain. You could probably plan for the next 5-6 months if you really had that foresight. Get it. You could do it on a Saturday, for sake of argument, and have it all pre-done in LinkedIn because you can schedule it now. Done. That's what I do. I don't worry on the day about what to write. I did this morning. I just wrote something. I was out for a walk, wanted to write about it, and posted it and such like. But there's a lot of things that these tools can do. I mean, Claude on where I'm here. This is quite a good tool. I've got. Let me just move this over. I've got here a PDF, and it will work on a PDF. And I'll show you hopefully when it's loaded in. These always don't work so well when you've got an audience watching you.
It's called the law of Murphy.
Yeah. But what it can do, and this is showing you how the analyzing tools work. You can ask it to describe what's in the PDF. If you've got, I mean, this one's relatively short, it's about 20. It's probably too big. But I've done it with a document I wrote. It was 50 pages, and it was a presentation I did when I was in insurance. And I wanted to put it in one page with 20 bullet points, and it did it for me. So this is other tools. ChatGPT can as well, but Claude is very good. And Claude is written by a company called Anthropic. These guys used to work with ChatGPT or OpenAI, which is their parent company. And they've just brought this over. I mean, I wonder if it'll work with our presentation. Might be too big, but it's got a certain size document that it will do. No, it didn't work. This is some of the downsides. You have to kind of like play around with it before you know what it will do in its entirety. But this will manage up to 75 pages of text or 100,000 words. It's quite fun. Yeah, I could probably do if we weren't online and I wasn't sharing my screen, if I was in front of this on my own and you said, oh, here's my book, would you write a recommendation on it? And if I said, do you want it tomorrow? You go, well, you need to read it. I could probably get it to read it and then get it to do a recommendation. All right, it's not like reading a book, but I'm helping you out to get to your end game and giving you something relatively accurate. And I'd send it over to say, look, what do you think of this? If it needs tweaking, etc., etc. So tools like that, you can see where this comes into its own. I've got Bing open. With Bing, it's not working. But with the Bing chat, you can put pictures in and get it to do a description and so forth. But that's basically text to content, I suppose. It's what people are calling it now. But there's lots and lots of similar tools. I mean, Perplexity is another one. This is one that I've used, and you can see on Bing. Look, it's dropped down there. I can ask it anything. You know, the actual newer version. I've got the old one in front of me. I could put an image down there and get it to describe what it is. I mean, it's even gone there. Look, perplexity and burstiness are two concepts that relate to the quality of written content. Because I asked it ages ago to write in a certain style, so it will do that too. And there's variations. So you've got one that's a bit more creative. So if I go write a poem about ChatGPT, click on that. I've got it on the real creative one. It's thinking about it, and bingo, there it is. Just picking something out. Now, I don't know if that's any good or not. I'm not a writer, but people who are will look at that and go, oh, it's all right, you know. And to clear it, new topic, I can do one that's more balanced. Do the same again, may as well. And it will come up with hopefully something slightly different.
Now I got it. I had to people on LinkedIn who said they wrote poems for me. So now I get it from where they got it. It was a 1-second job that they did.
Yeah. And then you can go precise, which is, again, very, very accurate. Now, this used to scrape the internet, and I think it does now. They took it off and they've made some modifications. So it will even give you reference points as to where it's found that info. So that's just one tool, and it's free to use all over the world. So this probably will be the most popular one. And as the others get up to speed, they'll eventually drop the charges. They'll find another way of getting money out of us, and it'll probably be through advertising or something like that. But for now, I hope that's helped you understand a little bit more than you did when you first got here.
Absolutely, it gives me an idea of spending less time on the post by just accepting. And I think it's a good idea to, you say you use 5, right? ChatGPT, Bing, Claude, Content AI, and Perplexity. Those are the 5 ones.
Perplexity, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's called Perplexity Labs. They're all free. Okay. You don't have to pay anything to use them. And there's, I mean, down here, all these, with the exception of a few, I've got loads of AI tools that I can use for different sorts of things. I mean, this image here yesterday, I created that, I created that, and I created that. Now they're different, although they look the same. And that was done by an AI tool called Leonardo, which is a text to image. So you write in a prompt. I think I put beautiful girl in her 20s, long blonde hair. And there's, like, again, the better you plan it, the better the outcome. So by the time I'd written the prompt and then generated it, in total, in terms of time, it took less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, amazing.
I've been playing around with this a lot. I've come up with some nice obscure ones as well. Where did I file that? Let me find it. I've got it's in here somewhere. So I've got text to image. So you see there's lots of different ones. That one's called woman because I've just done a load about woman. And this one here, very different, woman in a subway. What's the other one? Let's go back. Playground, that's another one there. White tiger. We've got that, got that, got that. So you can be really creative with AI. You know, you can same prompt, but using different features. You know, that one was really colourful. I quite like that. And there's a little cute cartoony version of it. And this one here is like got a bit of a I forget the thing now. It's got like it's called Colour Pop, that one. But yeah, it's all, there's so many different tools to use with played around. And you know, if you're looking for designing things like covers, book covers, there's a lot of stuff on there. I mean, some stuff here that I've been sort of doing, just messing around and just adding a few extra words and changing it. All right, it might not be for everyone, but some people like that. And they're selling online now. There's people that are selling them in all these various stores. So we're just really scratching the surface here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. So there we are.
Yes.
This was very useful. And anyways, I absolutely wanted to meet you, Dave. I think when we are interacting on a daily basis, it's good to know what we do, right? So that we can talk to other people as well about each other. And that's all very helpful. And Ayse, it was nice to meet you also. Definitely want to support you as well.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great if you two got together separately and sort of mapped out what you both do and such like. I mean, it's isn't it funny? We're all speaking English, and I'm the only native English speaker. The two of you aren't, and your English is better than mine.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that chip to get implanted somewhere to help with languages. You know, I'm so waiting. I will be one of the first buyers for that.
But again, you can use it for translation. I mean, I'm going to the south of France in
You know what?
6 weeks.
Yeah, but you
And
know what? I posted a video, I think in the weekend on, well, no, what are we? We are Tuesday. I posted a video last week of somebody who did the echo. I don't know if you remember. And
yes,
I could not identify the language that this guy was speaking. So I thought, okay, let me go to Google Translate. And in Google Translate, you can speak and indicate, I don't know the language. I thought it was Croatian or some language like that. I wasn't sure. And Google could not identify it. It simply, I tried different languages. I tried it to guess the language itself. Impossible. So I was blocked there.
one of those tools, I forget which one it was. I had some text sent to me. It looked like Russian, but I wasn't sure. So I copied it and I put it in, and I just wrote translate to English, and it did. Now I don't know if it's right or not, and I wasn't trying to find out what the language was, but in that it told me anyway. It told me it was Russian.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't
so
remember what it said now, but I was like, what does that say? It was a comment on something I put on
yeah,
Instagram.
that I have often. And then it detects any language and it will just auto-translate. And that it does perfectly. But because it was spoken, I think maybe that it said we can't, it mentioned something that unspoken, in writing something.
You're frozen there, Sarah. Can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can perfectly hear you.
Yeah, we just lost you for a little bit. So it was spoken as opposed to written text. There's probably something out there that will do it. I'll be very surprised if there isn't, because that's the way we're going. You know, we could be in the middle of China and talk to someone in Chinese. You know, English to Chinese, Chinese to English, just by, all right, we have to use a phone or something at the moment, some kind of hardware, but that's better than trying to do this, you know.
I've actually not tried it in India. I should use it more often, to just say speak it to the phone instead, because I have those challenges all the time, right? Where I kind of can speak Hindi, but very, very basic. But then very often people speak a local language, and then I can't pick it up. So I should definitely try that more often.
Ayse, have you tried it in other languages?
Yeah, I tried in Danish and Turkish, so it's working well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
See, that's great, because I don't speak either of those languages. I mean, I know a few words in Turkish because I worked in a bar years ago, and this guy taught me. Well, they weren't the very nice ones either. Bir iki üç tane, kaç tane is how much, but that's about it. But if I'd have had this on my phone when I was last in Turkey, which was in 2016, it'd have been really, really helpful, because I want to be seen to try having a sort of, at least an attempt to talk in the local language, right? Because we go everywhere around the world, and all people want to do is speak to us in English. We want to learn other things, but we don't really get the chance, to be honest. So if I'd have had that and I've gone, right, and tell me how to say it, and listen, and I could have done it, that would have been a real help for me.
Yeah.
Might not have the other end. They might think, hey, what's that? But
Well,
it's.
I'm very grateful for the time that you both have given. This is very interesting. And I guess you have this every week, right?
yeah, every week we are planning
Yes.
to do it every week, and then I think next week we will go deep in prompting and give more examples from ChatGPT. Am I right, Dave? If I remember.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's all about input through to output and getting the design that you want. nobody knows what you are thinking or I'm thinking. I mean, sometimes I don't even know, but you know what I mean? When you've got an idea and you start to write and you go, that's not quite right. Now, there'll be a lot of people that would just throw it away and walk, but don't do that, because if you keep going back and questioning it, because this is what we do as humans, we tend to question things. We don't always take things on face value. I mean, if I come to the pair of you and said, I can make you both £10,000 now, you wouldn't go, oh, great, do it. You wouldn't. You'd be curious as to how. What, you know, whoa, hang on a minute, that's a bit. I look at all technology like that. So instead of rushing in and just taking the first answer, I mean, if it happens to be right, great, but it's not often it comes out that way. You kind of have to keep asking it questions again, as Ayse was showing us earlier, with different smaller prompts. But yeah, it's a learning curve, and we're all on it, and it's still very, very new. We've only literally scratched the surface, and it's going to get better and better. But if you know of anyone that would like to join, you know, next week, following weeks, whatever, you know, if you want to do this as a regular thing, that'd be great. We'll post about this each week, because we want to build something up. Unfortunately, I've got a break between 11th and the 31st of August, but after that, I'm back in the room as such. But yeah, we want to do this each week, because we've got obviously a business motivation behind this as well. So that's obviously the end of the game as such.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. We'll make sure to support you on LinkedIn for it as well.
Lovely. Oh, you're a star. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Very nice meeting both of you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Ah.